Hello, this is Allie with the Perception Trainers, author of The Perception Diet, and today we have the ultimate reason why resistance keeps you stuck and why love is what is going to move you forward. Alright, so technically speaking, you could probably say, Allie, you have made this video 100 million times, and you're just saying the same thing in many different ways. And I would say, absolutely, you're 100% right. I have made this video 100 million different times, and I'm just saying the same thing in a different way because our world and our culture right now is so addicted to resistance, is so addicted to judgment, is so addicted to resisting what we don't want, that I feel like I need to say this message over and over and over and over again, because in order to kind of penetrate the wall of resistance that we have to this message that resistance doesn't work, it needs to be repeated, and we need to hear it 100 million times, okay? So I want you just to kind of know, like, for me on my journey, right, growing my consciousness and going through all the things that I've gone through and learning and expanding and all these things, it really was repetition that got it done, okay? I am not one of these people, and I don't know how many of these people actually really exist, that can hear something one time and then just like apply it to every area of my life, right? We as humans are very, right now, like in our state of fear, segmented, and we look at things in little boxes, and we look at things in this little thing doesn't have anything to do with this little thing, that doesn't have anything to do with this, it doesn't. So to say a message of like just let go of resistance, you might be able to kind of apply that to one area of your life and then not see how you're not applying it to all these other areas and how it needs to be applied to all these other areas, right? This is kind of how human consciousness is working right now. We're very dualistic, we're very segregated, we're very separated, and we're addicted to this idea of resistance. So talking about the same thing in many different contexts is sort of what is necessary right now on our consciousness journey in order to really penetrate these things, because we're not in unity consciousness yet. Meaning, when I share a teaching, or when anyone shares a teaching, when you hear a teaching, you're probably not going to have the mental capacity to apply it to every area of your life because you're so used to compartmentalizing your life. You're so used to having it be like, okay, I'm willing to release resistance in this area, but I need to keep the resistance in this area, right? And until I hear a video talking specifically about this, I'm not going to even realize that I'm not, or that I am applying resistance here, right? I just thought that's how we deal with this part. You see what I mean? So we need repetition. We need to hear these same messages over and over and over again. We need to talk about them in all these different contexts. And I'm learning that as a teacher, as I do this with you guys, because there have been times in my teaching journey where I've been like, why are you asking me this? I made that video, right? But because I didn't say the specific thing, because I didn't say the specific issue, because I didn't frame it in this specific way, people haven't been able to kind of like connect the dots between what I'm saying and apply it whole hog to their life, right? And I get that. So this is why I make these kind of repetitive videos, and why I'm driving the same kind of 2 or 3 messages home over and over and over again in all these different contexts, because that's where we're at right now, and I think that that's beneficial, okay? So, as I said, we are kind of a nation, we are a society, we are a global community that is essentially addicted to resistance. We really, truly, deeply believe that when we don't like something, we have to fight against it to get rid of it, right? And we see this in every area of society that possibly exists, right? We see this in the health and weight loss. We see this in government and politics. We see this in education. We see this in socioeconomic issues, right? Where we're fighting against racism. We're fighting against inequality. We're fighting, right? And in this way. We truly believe we're making progress. And so we see this on the macrocosm, right? Like our world is addicted to resistance, right? The army is a resistance to other things, right? This war on terror. We're in resistance to the terror that is coming in. We're in resistance. We're trying to get away from what we don't want, right? And in our own lives, in our own, day-to-day self, we're resisting food. We're resisting being fat. We're resisting having bad relationships. We're resisting our thoughts. We're resisting being still. We're resisting our negative emotions. We're resisting the job we don't like, right? We're constantly fighting against what we don't want, okay? And like I say, we genuinely, as a society, as a culture, as a collective consciousness, believe that this fighting against what we don't want is the answer. We really, truly think that if we're not fighting what we don't want, we're never going to get where we want to be, okay? And that is an overarching theme in consciousness that exists on the planet right now. And like I say, you can look at your own life and see that you are in resistance to a lot of things that are happening to you right now, right? That every area of pain in your life, if you look deeply enough of where you're suffering, the root of that suffering is always going to be that you're in resistance to what is showing up in your life right now. You're in resistance to your health issue. You're in resistance to your relationships. You're in resistance to your job. You're in resistance to your emotions about all of this stuff. You're in resistance to how you think. You're in resistance to how you feel. You're in resistance to the people around you. You're in resistance to the circumstances, right? You don't want it to be what it is, and you're pushing back against it, okay? And we need to understand, okay, that ultimately, number one thing, every day, no matter who you are, no matter what you're doing, no matter what's going on, you cannot become not something, okay? We are living in a universe that is based on creation. There is no actual destruction that happens in this life. There is no actual death that happens in this life. We know this, biologically speaking. The second that a human body dies, it doesn't stop living, okay? It stops being a human, and it starts breaking down and becoming the earth, which is living, okay? There is no ceasing to exist. There is no becoming not something. There is no getting rid of stuff, all right? The only thing that we can do is transmute something into something else. That is the only transition that exists in creation, the way we see it and the way we experience it on earth, right here, right now, as a consciousness. There is no getting rid of anything. There is only a transmutation of what is, okay? So if we understand that deeply, there is no getting rid of anything. So this is the thing. You're not going to get rid of your terrible relationship. You are going to transmute your terrible relationship into a healthy relationship. You're not going to get rid of your shadow. You are going to transmute your shadow into your light by loving it and accepting it. You're not going to get rid of your disease. You are going to become someone who is healthy, okay? And so this is what you need to really start to wrap your mind around. So long as you're fighting against what you don't want, you are creating a complete impossibility for yourself of ever becoming something different. Because in order to become something different, we have to move towards what we want. We have to move in a different direction. We have to do something different. We can't just say, I'm not going to do that anymore. I don't want this. This is not the thing. Okay? In order to go in a new direction, you have to go in a new direction. You can't just push back against the direction you don't like. Okay? That is how creation functions on the planet Earth. And until you accept that, you are going to resist the things you don't want, and you are going to be stuck in them forever. Because unless and until you start to move in a new, different direction, You have to stay stuck in what you're in. Okay? This is the law. You cannot become not something. You're never going to get rid of something. Okay? Even like an alcoholic doesn't get rid of drinking. Okay? They replace drinking with a whole bunch of other things. They replace drinking with going to meetings and then spending more time with their family and being at work and drinking water instead of drinking alcohol. You see what I mean? It's not like that space that they used to use in order to drink all of a sudden just becomes empty space that they sit there and do nothing. No. They become something different. They replace that habit with different habits. They become something new. They are not resisting the alcohol. They're not being an alcoholic. They're starting to be someone who does other things with that time, who do other things with that energy, who process those emotions in different ways. You see what I'm saying here? They become something new. So when you are looking at your life and you are looking at the things that you don't like and the things you don't want, the first thing you need to realize is that you're not going to become not that thing. You need to understand you're going to move towards something that you want to be. And the second thing is this goes back to my judgment video. So if you haven't watched my Why Judgment is the Worst Problem Solver Ever, please go watch that video and then come back to this. Is that when we are in a place of judgment, resisting, saying this thing that's happening shouldn't be happening, we again completely cut ourselves off from being able to move beyond it and move on to something new, because everything in your life is there to teach you something. Everything in your life is there to illuminate something that you are not aware of. Everything in your life is there for a reason. It is there to wake you up. It is there to wake you up to real reality. It is there to wake you up to your false beliefs. It's there to wake you up to who you truly are. It's there to wake you up to what you're here to do. Everything in life that appears on your path is the light. Everything. Everyone. Every shitty thing, every awesome thing, every terrible thing, every self-sabotaging behavior, everything in your life is divine. It's either divine covert or divine overt. And we need to understand that. That if you start to approach your life as though everything is supposed to be happening, you will learn from everything that happens in your life and you will accelerate your awakening journey. The less resistance you have to what's going on in your life, overall, the more information you will allow yourself to receive from everything that's going on in your reality, the faster you will cycle through the things that you don't like towards the things that you do like, because you will be allowing yourself to actually learn from the thing that you're facing, which is there to give you the information that you need for the next phase and the next phase and the next phase and the next phase, right? This again, every shitty thing in your life, if you embrace it, this does not mean that you are resigning yourself to be in this forever. When you embrace it, what you are saying is, this, just like everything else in life, is designed to be temporary. Because that is the other law of life. It's continual motion. It's continual evolution. They call it it's like a school for a reason. We're not meant to stay in grade 1 forever. The whole point of life, and when you start to go with it, when you start to allow yourself to be in a relaxed, receiving state of your life, you will realize that all of this fighting and resisting that you thought you were doing to get yourself to move forward was actually the thing that was holding you back from moving forward. Because life is designed to continually be giving you new information, new information, new information, new information, new revelations, all this stuff to allow you to awaken to who you've always been so that you can live a different experience all the time. Okay? And I can tell you from my own life that my rate of growth and literally my rate of my world, like my actual 3D reality changing into something epically better than it was the last 6 months, the last whatever, that rate of turnover has monumentally increased over these last 5 years as I've released resistance to what's showing up for me right here, right now. Okay? Literally every single time we've made a move in the last 4 years, we have like quantum leaped in our 3D reality experience. And that is because I was willing to be in what I was in the moment, and fully embrace it, right? So like when we were living in the middle of Montreal and it was winter and all I wanted to do was be back in Thailand, right? I had to let go of wanting to be back in Thailand right now and relax and release into what Montreal was teaching me. And the second I did that, we got the job offer to move to San Francisco. And then when I was in resistance to that, right, it stagnated us for a while. And then when I finally relaxed and released resistance, I said, okay, I want to learn. There was a whole bunch of stuff we needed to learn living there, that then we moved to Mexico. And every single time we did that, every single time I released resistance to my experience and stopped saying this is wrong and this shouldn't be happening, I should be in Thailand. And I said, okay, no, this is what's supposed to be happening. What am I supposed to be learning from this? How is this a blessing? How is this giving me what I need to go to there? I learned and we grew and things happened and foundations were built and things that we didn't even know that we needed in order to have the life that we wanted came into our reality, and we learned and we grew, and like literally now being where I am, I could never have sustained this life that we have had we not gone through all that stuff, right? And I just made it shitty for myself every single time I was resisting it, and I actually made things last longer than they probably needed to in a lot of ways, in a lot of times, because I resisted what I didn't want. And so this is what you need to get, is that when you resist what you don't want, thinking it's going to get you where you want to go, you're wrong. Like, this is just the bottom line. You cannot resist your way to where you want to go, because when you're in resistance, you're not allowing yourself to learn the information from the thing that's happening to you right now, which, remember, is there precisely because you asked for what you want. You ask for what you want, the universe gives you what you need to get there. It's never going to be what you think you need, okay? It's never going to go the way you think it's supposed to go. But if you can relax and say, no, this is the path. It's not the path I thought it was going to be, right? Like, I thought we were just going to leave Vancouver 4 years ago, move to Thailand, and that would be the end of it. And that is not what happened at all, right? We left Vancouver, sold all our things, whatever. Marcus lost his job. He couldn't get a job. We were in Thailand for 4 months. We had to go to Montreal. We had to go to San Francisco. We had to go to Mexico. We had to go to Peru. Then we got to Thailand. And all the shit that happened in between was exactly what we needed to be the people who could sustain the life that we're living now, right? So as we released resistance to what was happening in the moment, I've come to see that every single thing that happened needed to happen. It was exactly what I needed to learn and to grow and to expand and to become the person that could do this. Without all of that, this would not have been possible. So you need to understand that. Everything that's happening in your life right now is enabling you to become the person you want to become. But if you resist the lesson, you have to keep repeating it. If you resist it and push away it and say, I'm not going to do that, say this is wrong, say this is not how it's supposed to be, you are stuck in grade 1 forever. You never get to go to grade 2. You have to learn grade 1. If you want to get to college, learn grade 1. Assume that this, what is happening right now, is what is supposed to be happening. It is not an obstacle on your path. It is the path. This is lifting the 20 pounds so that you can fail at that to be stronger next time to lift 30. And then you're going to do that, and then you're going to lift 40, and then you'll be able to lift 110 pounds. But you're not going to walk into the gym and lift 110 pounds the first time you try lifting weights. That's not going to happen. You have to take the journey. So, being in resistance blocks you from the information that's coming to you right now, which is exactly what you need to move to the next step, to the next step, to the next step, to your goal. And you can't become not something. There is no such thing as stopping being something. You have to create the new thing. So, how is this, what's happening in your life, showing you what you want to create, showing you what you do want to be, showing you the direction you do want to head? Relax into what is happening. And that does not mean you'll get stuck in it. The only way to get stuck in it is to resist it. Because then you won't get in the information and you won't be focusing on where you're going. You'll be focusing on where you don't want to be, and you will be stuck there, right? So questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below. Like, share, subscribe, join me on Patreon, all that fun stuff. I'll see you in the next video.